Hi, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today's affirmation is there's a place for me in the learning community. For those of you who are older or perhaps feel that you don't fit into a learning community, then it's very important to think about that. Even those of you who are learning alone often complain that there just doesn't seem to be any kind of way forward with your learning. It might be because the teachers are very young, or they just don't know how to teach, or it may be you have the wrong learning materials. It might even be that as an older person, you don't really know how to begin. Whatever the reason, it's very, very important that you know that there's a place for you. And if you are learning English alone, or you're trying to do accent reduction alone, then you really, really need to be remembering that there's other people around you. I'm quite fortunate because as a teacher, I'm quite mature. And in talking to older people, it's very clear that there's some kind of gap between older people trying to learn and younger teachers online. I had a lesson the other day with a Spanish teacher, and I was thinking to myself, my goodness me, I have food in my freezer older than this woman. So we feel as we get older sometimes that we don't connect so well, and that leaves us in a place where we just feel we can't move forward. We don't have the correct people affirming us. When we're younger, we look to our parents or to older people to show us that we're going on the right pathway. But when we're older, we become those people who show younger people they're on the right pathway. And we ourselves need to find like minded people, especially if we take on a project like learning or trying to reduce the accent, for example, needs feedback from other people. So we often get a little bit stuck when we're learning. So today's affirmation really is to remind you that no matter how old you are, you're part of a huge community and we're all there, every one of us. So just make sure that you surround yourself with the correct material, the correct teachers, and the correct idea of how you expect a community to behave or to be like. Now, it's very interesting when we talk about our definitions of the word community, because community is something which is defined by us. A community is a group of people who come together who don't necessarily have some kind of identity together. All they have is some kind of shared goal or purpose. I don't know if you know this, but English people, sometimes to open our minds, we have to redefine words like community or home to incorporate some kind of higher, bigger, and better vision of what we want. Let me give you an example of that. Now, I live in an apartment. In British English, we call them flats. I live in a flat. Now, living in a flat can be defined as a place where there's no stairs except outside going up to other apartments or flats. It also can be defined as having walls and different rooms. But what if we were to take that and redefine it? Let's define it as a place of truth, a place of love, a place of communication. If we define the word house or home in that way, then it's much larger. And even the people who come to visit us, we can expect them to be part of our family who express truth and love and good communication. Sometimes we need to take words like community and make it a bit larger. It's not that you haven't found the right community for you, it's probably more about feeling that you belong. There has to be a way in any community where you can welcome someone new. And the learning community is no different. There has to be a way people can open their hearts and let you in. Now, let's just redefine some other words for a moment because this is really important. If we can redefine home as a place of truth and love, and if we can redefine community as a place where you're affirmed, welcomed, and encouraged to learn, then we also can redefine what learning is. It doesn't have to be painful. In these days of the internet and with artificial intelligence, it really doesn't have to be expensive either. You just have to set yourself up in the right way. Make sure that you have enough either internet usage, media, artificial intelligence on your level, helping you. Within the learning community itself, the internet is a huge thing. In fact, most of learners, I would say, as a community, or most learners' communities, are online somewhere. You just need to find them, and that can be your place. So that's all I wanted to say today. When you're learning words in English, you can take words like apartment and you can say, well, an apartment is a flat place where families live. Or you can redefine them as places of truth, love, and great communication. It's also a place where learning takes place. In an apartment, you can learn lots about yourself while you're living with other people. So I'm wondering for you, how would you define your home or house today? Could you define that as a place of learning? Do you think you could open your mind up to give it a wider definition? And what other definitions could you give yourself and others? For example, a learner. What is that? Is that someone who's trying to push lots and lots of information into their mind? If that's all it is, it's giving the idea that all we are little blobs of materiality with somehow a lid that opens where we put vocabulary in. And well, if we're lucky, we might remember some words. I think we're so much more than that, especially if we're in a place where there's communication, truth and love flowing. If we can define that as home, then I'm sure we can define learners as being happy people, people who are joyful when they come to see their learning materials, and people who take a great deal of joy not only from learning, but from the English world and, of course, from life itself. So, in closing, there is a place for you today in the community, but you need to define what your expectations are because you are the community. So rather than looking out and trying to grab everything you can, like some kind of game show on TV, you are. And it's time for you to make your contribution, to stand up and be part of this wonderful community by defining it in a way that's big enough to incorporate everyone. And I think we all need to do that because these days, especially in a diverse country like the UK, daily we come across people who are different from us, different with skin color, different with language, different perhaps in the way they choose to lead their lives, different views politically, and in many other ways. There has to be a way that we can make our minds open enough to welcome everyone. And that comes from redefining our views. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Some food for thought there. Let's talk soon. See you all. Bye.